deal with airplane peanuts.
The Andrew Schulz and Kendrick Lamar saga continues to get bigger every day, with more and more headlines being written about the comedian's vicious response to Kendrick after the rapper called out all white comedians and their friends in the very first song of his recent surprise album. If you want to learn more about the other comedians who responded to that lyric, we posted a video covering all of that in detail last week. But ever since that video was uploaded, so much more has happened, and Andrew Schulz has moved directly into the center of this entire controversy, with thousands of people online pinning him to Kendrick's diss, including the widely trusted music platform Genius, whose website received 160.5 million visits last month, claiming that the verse was a direct response to a joke made by Andrew Schulz on Flagrant back in July that referenced Kendrick by name.
What is the black girlfriend effect? This is
you don't know about
glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend, all of a sudden he's got buzz cut, like clean shape up. Glows up, bro.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that.
They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about all the time. That's why they gotta shave their hair.
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends, they
grow
step,
a beard because there's more cushion when they get slapped the out. That's hilarious. I think the black girlfriend effect. It might be a protective instinct, bro.
You think?
Protective.
Yeah. Do you guys have you ever had black girlfriends?
Yeah.
Have you ever had white girls?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. What's your favorite?
We love them all.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We love them all.
Yeah.
That means white.
Yo, who gets
That means what?
Hey, let me do the translation.
Kendrick fans? Get him! Kendrick fans! Get him!
The second lyric from Whacked Out Murals that is now being discussed by Schulz and company came directly after the line about white comedians and has been interpreted as a shot by Kendrick towards any black people who are friends with Andrew Schulz, specifically his two podcast partners, Charlemagne and Al.
Oh, he said the N-words that coon, but that's not the line. It's the N-words that's being groomed.
That's a little weird.
But that's why I think he's talking about you.
Yo, Kendrick has so many Easter eggs in his music.
He did say slide on both
he's got
of them,
so
though.
many secrets in there,
He
guys.
said slide on both of them.
Out.
Who's the both of them?
You and you.
Yep.
He's trying to tell people
I
to
wasn't
slide
there.
on you, but you were there in spirit.
I didn't even hear about it the other day. I didn't even hear about it the
He
other day.
did. You just talked
Yo,
about
you
it
know,
all
it's-
on
you know, it's
Breakfast
really
Club. You
sad.
just talked about it on all your platforms, but
Yeah.
you didn't hear it.
I never talked about this because I never heard about it.
You know what he said to me? But he didn't say anything. He said, "Good luck at your Netflix special." He said, "I'm looking out for you. I'm praying for you. I hope it goes great." That's what he said to me. That's what a good friend says to me. You know what you said to me?
Yep.
We got a hit.
But I don't like him threatening the violence. I don't like that. I don't like him telling people to slide on you.
I'm a civilian. I'm going to the cops too.
What if it's too late? What if they do something to you?
I mean, I don't leave my house.
But my feeling is like, yo, Kendrick, I feel like Kendrick is talking all this shit, and for whatever reason, we just letting him talk all this shit.
Yeah,
You know what I
because
mean?
we decided we love him right now.
I get it. I do get it. But at the same time, like...
And I've always been a fan, but I also said this even in the Drake thing when he said the shit about your next show at the Bay, whatever he said, basically kind of like call to violence.
Yeah.
And remember when Rick Ross got beat up? I was like, yo, Kendrick, you gotta fall back on that call to violence
like
shit.
Trump on January 6th.
Yo. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's trying to get people to storm the Capitol a little bit. He's trying to get people to go to Al. Get people to go to Charlotte. That's dangerous rhetoric out there.
really
For
is,
woke
dude.
Kendrick, you know?
Stand back, stand by.
Stand back and stand by. He's not even saying that. He's saying get up in that ass.
Yeah.
As luck would have it, during the week of all of this drama unfolding online, Andrew Schulz was on a break from both of his podcasts while preparing to film his upcoming special. So after consecutive days of getting dragged online by Kendrick fans without a way to respond, Schulz was bottled up and ready to unload all over Flagrant.
This is the thing that is kind of funny about it. Is like, first of all, Kendrick's people and the gang affiliate, you know, everybody, his security, they will kill me. They will destroy me. They'll find me in the street. They'll fucking cut me up. They'll shoot me. They'll do whatever. I'm not a tough guy. Y'all do. But just Kendrick, I would make love to him. And there's nothing he could do about it. Just Kendrick Lamar, I would make love to him. And the only thing that he could do is decide if it's consensual or not. I know with Kendrick that he's talking a lot of shit, but if it came down to it, I could put him on my lap. I could feed him a bottle and make love to him if I wanted to, and there's nothing he could do about it. I might not be hard. Dick might just slap soft against his butt.
But you can just beat him up. You don't have to fuck him, right?
No. We're not doing acts of physical violence over here, bro.
Okay.
That's what
This is an act of sweet love.
This is an act of love.
Oh, you're a pacifist.
I'm saying I could be romantic with him and there's nothing he could do about it, to the point like I think I'm so charming he would just fall into it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I think he would just be so charmed. He would be like, damn, like whap, let me suck it up.
This was MLK's dream, right?
Yes, for real. So we need to figure this out. We need to figure, like the only thing he could do is after I was finished, like write some words that rhyme together about it.
Oh, that
Do you know
album
what I
would be
mean?
fire.
Like,
That would be a
and
good
that
album.
would, oh my God.
He can make some calls. He can make some calls.
Yeah, you want
That
to
he
talk
can
about
do.
another album called Damn. Sit down. Reincarnated.
Although the jokes about making sweet love to Kendrick Lamar was the main thing that triggered majority of the upset folks online, the podcast also started off with an absolute dismantling of Kendrick's hypocrisy from every angle possible that for some reason is not being discussed nearly as much.
Rappers are telling comedians we need to be more respectful to women, so we gotta sit back and reflect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They're the most pious group.
Listen, nobody has respected women more through art
Yes.
than rappers, okay? So I completely understand how a rapper could look at a comedian telling a joke and be like, yo, y'all need to switch that shit up.
Yeah.
How dare y'all keep saying your wives are annoying? Be more like us and, bitches ain't nothing but hoes and tricks. I beat my bitch with a stick, what? You can lick on the nuts or suck the dick. I beat my bitch with a stick, what?
All right, let's see the exact line, okay? Don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman. That's law.
Now, technically speaking, if we're going off of grammatic English,
Okay.
he is saying I can talk about black women, and that is law.
Don't let no white comedian talk about no black
So
woman.
he's basically saying all white comedians
Are only allowed to
talk about black women.
exclusively.
That's what I'm talking about, Kendrick.
We're back.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's a law.
Finally, he understands
It's a
it.
law.
Now I understand why he's doing a comedy with the South Park creators.
Ah, that makes
Because
sense.
he appreciates white comedians that make fun of black people.
There you go.
And they've done that brilliantly for decades.
Yeah, that's true.
And he would never want to, break one of his own laws.
No, that's true.
I mean, didn't they have a character called Token on the South Park show?
Yeah, they do.
Which I'm sure Kendrick is a big fan of.
That's true.
He must be a big fan if he's
true.
going to do a comedy with them. I mean, we can look that up. Apparently, he has a comedy coming out.
Yep.
The N-words that coon, the N-words that being groomed, slide on both of them. Whoa, that seems like a call to violence.
It does.
Why would the call to violence be towards the black dudes, not the white guy making the joke?
Well, you gotta understand.
What?
Well, no. You gotta understand.
I snitch. I cooperate. I tell.
Litigation.
Okay? You go squabble up in a jail cell.
Here's what you gotta understand about Ken. It's very important to him to protect black women. That's why he's never done a song with an abuser confirmed. He's never done a song
thank
with
God.
anybody
Thank
that's
God. Thank God.
suspected of abuse.
Hold on.
This is all very important to Kendrick.
Wait, just let me understand what's going on here. Because I think that you're using sarcasm as a comedic device.
It is a comedic device.
But you're so fucking smart right now that I don't know if you're serious or making jokes.
As you can probably imagine, the aftermath and outrage to this entire response was huge, especially on X and Instagram, along with dozens of headlines all published within a few hours that tried to condone Andrew's response and print them as serious statements instead of jokes, which is honestly to be expected at this point and is not really that crazy when it comes to comedians getting in trouble. But what started as normal backlash in the forms of articles and tweets slowly turned into full-on hit pieces, with one person online even trying to claim that in 2011, Andrew Schulz was dating a 16-year-old, which turned out to be blatantly untrue and easily disprovable.
But now they make it racist. They try and make me a. Did you guys see this shit?
Yeah.
This shit was hilarious. So one of my exes, she has been turning 29 for the last 5 years. I don't know if it's because, Hollywood isn't great to people that are trying to make it and they're in their 30s or whatever. But they looked at the ages and they're like, oh, she's 29 years old still. And they're like, oh, she must have been 16 when they're dating. I go, 16? I was on 5 shows on MTV when we were dating. How the fuck am I in a public relationship with a 16-year-old? I go, look, there's her on X Factor saying she's 23. And I'm like, wait a minute, this girl's lying about her age. They believed the lie. Now they're posting it trying to turn me into a pedophile. I sat back and I was like, let me see what they're gonna throw out. Because I know that they're gonna go crazy. Once I did the thing on the pod, once we did the flagrant episode, I was like, I know they're gonna go crazy. I was like, I'm sitting back, I'm gonna see. They're gonna throw the kitchen sink at me. I already know. And I was like, all right, let's see what they got. Let's see what they got. They start throwing out everything. Oh, he's racist, of course. That's the first thing they're obviously gonna go to. Then they do the pedophilia shit, and I'm like, all right, yeah, of course. Yeah, okay, good. And then so I'm like, okay, let's see. Okay, that's all they got. And then the celebs started getting comfy, right? Because they saw, they're like, ooh, there's a trend in this direction. Let's pile on.
Yeah.
The second I saw these cornball ass celebs try to pile on, Meek tried to pile on. He's like, yeah, this is what they do. He made fun of me, called me gay in his stand-up. That shit was fucked up. I got a tweet of Meek saying, that shit was funny, bro. I like that. That's the first time I ever laughed at being called gay. And then Ice Cube's son tries to post some shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I just put right under it, I'm like, why don't you look up Google No Vaseline by your dad? And now he's in the comments explaining himself. Well, technically that was a joke. It was a metaphor. It wasn't a real thing that was actually gonna happen. I'm like, oh, really? Is that it?
Yeah.
After the go-to play by Kendrick fans of calling their enemies pedophiles failed, a Hail Mary attempt to gain any sort of traction against Andrew Schulz was made when an edit from Brilliant Idiots started to circulate that made Andrew Schulz appear to be playing the victim card, complaining about the nasty response from Kendrick fans to his jokes about sexual abuse. The only problem is the footage from that clip was filmed well before the response episode of Flagrant even came out, and the aggressive DMs that Schulz was receiving were in direct response to Kendrick's first line about white comedians. But unfortunately, the misleading clip already made enough waves online to even be shared by a fellow comedian.
Shout out the blog, shout out DL Hewley, man, for being a stand-up comedian. try to get clicks. What happened to DL, bro?
I don't know. Sad, dude.
That is sad. Like, seeing him try to get clicks off this situation, and also them trying to, this was also Jasmine Brandt, them trying to like reframe this narrative. This is one of the saddest shit I've ever seen. Cause as DL, I'm like, yo, you a comedian, like this is Kings of Comedy. I saw Kings of Comedy in the movie theater. I've been posting shit like telling me they're gonna take out my family on like pictures of my child, my daughter.
God.
You surprised by this? This is the nature of the game.
And social media.
Yeah, it's social media. It's like, but he says that line. He says that line.
Pause.
His parent, So Andrew Schulz says multiple Kendrick Lamar fans have threatened to kill his family over sexual assault joke.
Yeah. That last 6 words or whatever.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So what people don't know is that this was recorded before I ever said anything to Kendrick. This, you notice the outfit is the same outfit as Flagrant. We did the podcast the same day, right? So I haven't said anything to Kendrick. This is the timeline. Kendrick drops the bar in the song, right? He says, don't talk about black women, that's law, to white comedian. Then he tells people to slide on the black dudes close to him. Alex and Charlemagne is what I interpret. So basically kill his black friends, right? So death threats to them, death threats to me.
And I was getting death.
Of course, death threats to Charlemagne. Death threats to me, death threats to my family, telling they're gonna kill my daughter, posting on my daughter's
We
picture.
still haven't posted in that.
We haven't talked, I don't talk about it for 2 weeks, right? I go, okay, you saying death threats to all of us? You gonna talk shit about my daughter? Okay, it's up. I'm a your man. Right? Because if we saying anything, it's like, let's have some fun.
It's still funny.
I'm a man.
It's still funny.
Right?
Consensual love.
No, but then we're gonna do the molding of his butt. I'm hanging it on the wall. That's it. I'm hanging on the wall so I can point. Remember that? That happened. This is it. So you talk some shit, right?
I can see them taking this. Oh, he said hang. Uh-oh.
Oh yeah. And then immediately so you say the shit, you say kill my friends, and then all of your fans come out, not all of them, but fans come out, they give death threats to all of us. They're talking shit about my 10-month-old daughter, right? Saying they're gonna kill her. And then I go, I'm gonna make sweet love to Kendrick, and now all of a sudden all the fans are like, how could you do that? Oh, you're taking it too far. Jokes are not funny. Yeah, we should murder your family and everything like that, and that's really fun. But oh my God, they're like clutching their fucking pearls, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on, how did you become the victim again? He really is the Taylor Swift of hip hop. Like, Taylor is the biggest artist in the world. She's still the victim somehow. She's the victim with Scooter. Yeah. She's the victim with her boyfriend. She's the victim with the labels. Kendrick, the exact same thing. He's the biggest rapper right now. Destroyed Drake. Can't talk about Kendrick without saying it. No, he destroyed Drake in the battle. He's number one, and somehow still he's the victim that he started.
Yeah.
And immediately the fans, this is so racist. How is it racist to make Sweet Love to My Little Rascal?
This entire situation is basically equivalent to a comedian on stage shutting down a heckler who thought they were about to make a big point. But because Kendrick is so good at winning these types of battles in his arena of music, it seems like his fans started to mistake him for some sort of godlike creature that was immune to any criticism whatsoever. Instead of a 5'3", 40-year-old rapper who makes great music but is also kind of a hypocrite when he gets on his high horse, or in his case, high pony, and starts lecturing the public about stuff he knows nothing about. Honestly, it's been pretty funny to see how shook his fans are that a comedian is objectively roasting the out of him on a very public platform with no fear whatsoever. As a comedy fan, it's pretty cool to see Andrew Schulz using jokes the same way that Kendrick Lamar used music to send out a wider message that will hopefully end up educating a lot of ignorant people about the concept of comedy as a whole.
Yeah.
So immediately, like, you can never make jokes about black women. Then I was like, what about the South Park creators he's doing the film with? And then immediately all the comments are, well, South Park makes fun of everyone. What? They made fun of everyone equally. I was like, oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I'll think about that next time.
Whether you liked the response or not, by far the most embarrassing part of this entire situation has to be the plan to pay civilians to protest the upcoming Andrew Schulz show in Hawaii after a Craigslist ad was uncovered that was offering $250 to anyone willing to protest the show for a minimum of 4 hours, which might have actually worked if his next show didn't just happen to be in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, because if it was in LA, this probably would have got a lot of traction, and a lot of people might have shown up. But then again, if there was a big turnout, who's paying all those people?
They're paying protesters. Now, I don't know who's providing the money.
$250 is not nothing.
Low key, I'm almost like, should we all go and I just do a show outside?
Son, if 1,000 people show up, that's $250,000 you gotta pay.
So who's gonna pay that? Who would have that kind of money? Probably a really obsessive fan. That's it. Now, I'm not saying it's coming from their team. I'm not saying it's coming from Kendrick. But this is, and by the way, they're paying full. That's like full price. That's not 30% off like their streams. This is a full price thing that they're paying. Imagine being like an artist who like really believes in creativity and then censoring other artists. Now, I'm not saying it's Kendrick. It's probably just a one random fan with like millions and millions of dollars that he would like to deploy to protesting a show in Hawaii of mine. Probably has nothing to do with the team freaking out and in shambles because they've never been made fun of on the internet. And their only reactions go, oh, you're racist. Oh, you're so racist. Because you want to butt fuck my guy.
You know what hurt me the most? When you said Kendrick made music for dudes under 5'10" and he's my #1 artist on my Spotify rap.
He does make music for dudes under 5'10".
This is also all obviously a good thing for Andrew's special, which was filmed in the midst of this story breaking, especially with him making the switch from YouTube to Netflix for the very first time. On YouTube, his audience is already very established and cornered in a way where they are sure to be fed any new content on a regular basis. And YouTube is naturally just a much broader platform in general. One, because it's free, and two, because it's also used as a search engine. But on Netflix, the audience becomes much more narrow, and some people who see this special on Netflix's homepage may have never heard of Andrew Schulz. Except for now, over the last few months alone, his name has been in the mainstream news more than ever. From the roast of Tom Brady to the Donald Trump interview, and now engaging in an active beef with Kendrick fans a few months before the Super Bowl, the name Andrew Schulz has become a lot more recognizable, intriguing, and clickable to the average Joe.
If I was Andrew, I wouldn't have any black woman jokes in the special, just because you don't want to prove people right.
People are asking me, like, are you going to mention Kendrick? And I was like, why would I? Like, my art piece has nothing to do with him. I'm not going to put him in this thing that's going to last forever. I mean, I'm very honored that he did that with me, but I would never do that with him.
We also just talked about this entire situation more casually on Patreon a few days ago if you're looking for additional content on Schulz vs. Kendrick. But either way, this is a quick clip from that video that basically sums up this whole thing.
It's tough because Kendrick can't really respond unless he's with music. Like, comedians now have the stage and the podcast to do their art form. Like, Kendrick tried to make a big point with his art, in his rap, about being like, you can't let white comedians talk about black women. That was the big point that he was going to make. And I said this in the video, it's basically equivalent of like a comedian on stage just shutting down a heckler who thinks they're about to make a big point. Like if Schulz was doing crowd work on a black lady and made fun of her, then Kendrick's 5'2" ass stood up, and you wouldn't be able to tell that he's standing up, but he stood up and he was like, hey, no white comedian can make fun of a black woman. And then Schulz looks him up and down and says, well, this, and that, you're a hypocrite, you're this, and that. Also, you're 5'2". I could have sex with you if I wanted. I mean, maybe it's not the best joke delivered on a stand-up stage. It was funnier in context of Flagrant, but that's basically all that this is. And Kendrick fans in the rap community are just so like butthurt, no pun intended, that their guy is getting emasculated and destroyed on a public stage, and they don't know how to handle it. Guest spots from last week: The Joe Rogan Experience sat down with Roger Avery and Quentin Tarantino, as well as Derek from More Plates, More Dates. Sean Gardini and Tommy Pope were on Kill Tony. Sam Morrill was on Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. Sam also stopped by Two Bears, One Cave and the Legion of Skanks with Steve Ranazizi. Lisa Gilroy was on Whiskey Ginger. Fortune Feemster showed up to Birdcast. Fitzdog Radio featured Howie Mandel. Matt and Evan was on Tiger Belly. Are You Garbage spoke with a defense attorney. Lizzie Cassidy was on the Dynamite Rocket Ship. Sam Lopez came by The Solid Show. Mike Rainey was on the couch with Soder. Adam Ray and Brett Morin took their shoes off with Rick Glassman. Bad Friends brought back Dax Flames. Pete Holmes took a trip on the Harland Highway. YMH, Chrissy Chaos, The Tim Dillon Show, Flagrant, and History Hyenas all did not have guests. James McCann was on The Danny Brown Show. And Big J. Okerson stopped by The Tim Butterly Show.
I watched an Uncle siphon gas one time. And it
feels trashy no matter what the circumstance.
I'll tell you,
unless it's post-apocalyptic.
It changed my perception of him for the rest of my life. And it wasn't even just the act of siphoning, but like, I think if I was forced to do it, I'd have my thumb right there, ready to not get even a molecule of gasoline on my lips. But he went
crazy,
2 full spits of gasoline without any hesitation. And I was just like, dude, you were on borrowed time.
That's insane.
You're not supposed
I would assume if you drink gasoline at all, you die. I would assume that's instant death.
I would have to gargle a Coke Zero after that or something. I don't know what you'd gargle with to make that go. It's not mouthwash.
Well, but what if it's delicious? What if gasoline is so good?
It's the sweet stuff.
Yeah, what if it's really sweet like antifreeze?
Yeah, once you burn off the ethanol, it's like Jack Daniel's sauce.
Mr. Beast was on This Past Weekend with Theo Von. Christina P. was on the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. Story Wars included Joe DeRosa, Tim Butterly, and Brian Six. Mike Racine was on the Adam Friedland Show podcast. Renee Vega was the guest on the Fat Fish podcast. Adrian Appalucci was on First Date with Lauren Compton. Tristan Bowling and James Moss were on Only Fiends. Mateo Lane was a guest on the Blocks podcast. Steve Wright made it weird with Pete Holmes. Frankie Quinones was on The Honeydew. Chappelle Lacey sat in the Wayback. Brian Six took a trip to Stuff Island. Stavi's World was visited by Ben O'Brien and Sarah Sherman. You Know What Dude featured KP Burke and Corey B. Burbs Bros had on Anthony Atadamak. Brendan Saglow, Mike Racine, and Ethan Dupree were on Being Ian with Jordan. Eddie Furlong took a wild ride with Steve-O. Paul Reiser broke bread with Tom Papa. Tom Cassidy came by Sag Daddy DePod. And the Zach and Lewis Show featured Maddie Smith and Robert Bernstein. As far as brand new stand-up comedy specials that are either out right now or coming out soon, we have an entire new crop of YouTube specials out right now, starting off with Dane Cook, Above It All. Kyle Mara, Jokes on the East Side is also out right now on YouTube, and Matthew Broussard's debut special, Hyperbolic. Joe Mandy has a new special out on Hulu right now titled Chill, and Netflix has a few new specials out right now as well, starting off with Fortune Feemster, Crushing It, Jamie Foxx, What Happened Was, and Anthony Jeselnik, Bones and All. We also had Chris DiStefano's weekly Sunday upload, which was a half hour of stand-up filled with jokes about his father, Tampa Tony. And Josh Johnson dropped a new 35 minutes all about the Drake lawsuit.
Kendrick Lamar is absolutely killing it right now, and he was in a beef with Drake. Now, if you don't know, Drake was a rapper.
Like always, there's a few specials in the works right now that will be coming out relatively soon. Starting off on December 17th with Ronnie Chang, Love to Hate It, which will be coming out on Netflix. 2 days later, Rose Matafio, On and On debuts on Max. And to close out the year, Netflix will have new specials from Nate Bargatze and Michelle Buteau. Plus an end-of-the-year roast hosted by none other than Jeff Ross on December 27th, titled Torching 2024, a roast of the year. But other than that, we're also gonna have some year-in-review content coming
coming out later this month right here on Joke World, so please double check right now to see if you're subscribed. Look, I understand that is very cliche, and literally every single video on YouTube has a guy at the end being like, smash the subscribe button, but it really does help us out. So just consider maybe taking 0.2 seconds and just clicking that button, especially if you've watched this far into the video. You really have no excuse. But if you want some more incentive, I'm willing to send you some free Joke World stickers in the mail, completely free of cost. If you press subscribe, then fill out the form in the description below. Honestly, I won't know if you press subscribe. You could just fill out the form, but you'd really be fucking me if you did that. Just come on, fill out the form, get the stickers, press subscribe, do all the good stuff. If you don't want stickers, we'll also send some free Joke World wristbands in the mail. It doesn't get much better than that. So thank you so much for watching this video. We'll have plenty more videos coming out over the holiday season, so make sure you're subscribed. Like I said, this is Off the Rails. Goodbye.
At Joke World. That's it, at Joke World.
And the world is WRLD.
That's a great YouTube channel, Joke World. Check it out.